Hey kids! Nice to see you again. So today I'm going to show you how to install a kitchen faucet. But first, I have a dad joke for you. So, at one point I thought about going into building countertops for kitchens, but then I realized it was counterproductive. So anyway, let's get started. This is how you install an American standard. It's called the Studio S faucet. And this is new construction, right? So we're in the middle of a kitchen remodel. As you can see, it's a little bit of a mess here, but I wanted to walk you through how to install this. And when they cut our island, the countertop, or the countertop, and for the sink, they asked us how many holes we wanted, and we opted for 3. I think it's a good idea to just go ahead and get the 3 cut, because sometimes you'll get a sink that will have 2 knobs. But what we're going to use our 3 for, so that then they're there for somebody if they want to switch the faucet. We're going to have the faucet here, and the faucet actually has the control right on the faucet. I'll show you that in just a second. And then we're going to have a push button for our garbage disposal, and then we're going to have a soap dispenser here. So we just opted for the 3, and then that way you got options, right? Because if we just did 2, and then later somebody wanted to change the faucet, then they'd be stuck, or they'd have to drill a new hole. So I'm just going to walk you through that now. So here is the faucet. It's called a Studio S. Okay, pretty nice faucet, and it's fairly easy to install. Okay, so it comes. Let's see. It comes with this, and we'll get a close-up of all this here in just a minute. I backed up because I wanted you to see these 3 holes that we had, and now we can move it in a little closer. But there's just a few parts that come with it. Okay, I actually have these already sitting out here. The first one is this. It's a ring, and you can see where it goes. It's going to go up right inside this. There's a spot for it. So this is what the faucet consists of. I'm just going to go ahead and set this down gently here. Okay, as you can see, this is the control here, right, for the water. Okay, and it actually has a spray nozzle built into it, and as you can see on these hoses, they're marked with a red stripe and a blue stripe. So red is hot, of course, and blue is cold. And then this is the spray. Okay, so what it's going to do is when we get down underneath, we're going to feed all these through here. Okay, through the center one, and then when we're up underneath there, this is I'm gonna show you this now because it's gonna be harder to see when you're up inside there. This is gonna go here, it's gonna slide in, and then this is gonna slide over the top of it, just like that. Okay, so this is the piece here. I wanna make sure you can actually see it. Okay, that's the piece that's gonna slide over the top of this and fit in there. Okay, and then you got this one that's a little flatter than that one. I guess it's got this one's sticking up just a little bit more. And so that will be the next piece. When we're underneath, we're gonna put that on. Then we're gonna put this on, okay, like that. And then we're gonna screw this on, okay? We're gonna screw it onto these threads, and we're just gonna spin that around. And then once you get it tight, then you take these screws right here and you just tighten those up to make sure it's good and tight, okay? And then that'll be what that looks like from down below. Okay, so you can see you got a couple rubber gaskets here, okay? And one's a little thinner. And what this one's for is we're gonna slip that on. We slip it on over these guys here. And it goes all the way up in here, and then it actually fits right inside here. I'm gonna try to show that to you. It just fits right inside there, okay? And that's gonna sit on the top, okay? All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and feed our hoses down inside, okay? Just like that. I got a little bit of piping down there, so I'm fighting that a little bit, but there we go, just like that. One thing I noticed on this too is if you wanted to have this, we're gonna have it on our right side. It looks like you could actually put it on the left side if you wanted to, but we're putting it on the right side. Okay, so that's that. And then I'm going to show you from down underneath what all that looks like. Okay, Let's try it again. Fairly tight up in here. Oh, we need that one too. Okay. Now that guy's gonna go over there. We got the biggest sink. Because we wanted to make sure we had a big sink, but boy, it's sure is tight back here. Okay. Remember the order that I told you that all those pieces went in? It's kind of hard to show you now, so here we go though. Okay, now that we got, let's see, so the rubber is first, right? Then I got this piece that's going to push against it once I tighten those screws down. Let me make sure you're seeing that. Yep, I think you're seeing that. So I'm just gonna keep cruising here. I got a lot of threads on it. Kind of nice actually, because I was able to get it started down here fairly close to me, right? Okay, and those screws sure are handy to get it kind of tight. And then now we'll just use a screwdriver, hand tighten it right now, but we'll just use a screwdriver and tighten all three of those up. Try to use my drill. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and connect this guy while I can. Okay, so that just slides into there and clips in. And there's a little collar that slides over the top of it. Okay, that's locked in good. Okay, so this is my hot and this is my cold, okay? And so I'm gonna hook those two up. I'm gonna use Teflon tape, which I've showed you before in another video. All it is just, it's like a plastic, well, it's made of Teflon, I guess. And whenever you're connecting metal on metal, you always wanna use Teflon tape, okay? Metal threads, because that just makes it a nice seal. So I have some threads here, and I actually have some threads here because my dishwasher will connect to that. My dishwasher isn't here yet, so I had to cap this. I just put a cap on it. I used Teflon tape, and then I put a cap on that particular one, because when you turn this on, you're gonna have water going out both those. So I had to cap that. It'll come off of here for my faucet, and then this will be the one for the cold. So this guy is gonna connect right here, but I'm gonna put on some Teflon tape on it, and then I'm gonna tighten it, okay? And then same thing with the blue one. It's gonna connect right here, okay? And I'm gonna put some Teflon tape on that. So you just put the Teflon tape on clockwise, okay? So we're gonna put this on and we're gonna wrap it clockwise the same way that we're actually screwing the nut on, okay? And then that guy's gonna go right onto there. Got the red stripes onto the hot, okay? So now I'm just threading that on. Don't over tighten this, right? Just wanna make it snug, but don't over tighten it. Hopefully there's a little wiggle room with the pipes so I can move them around. Okay, again, don't over tighten, you just want it snug though. You don't want it loose and you don't want it too tight. Okay, the moment of truth, we're turning on the water. Let's check it out. Woohoo! There's gonna be air in the lines until for a little bit. All right, so here it is. You know, we've owned it for about 2 months now, and we absolutely love it. You know, couldn't be happier with it. It's very well made, and as long as you install it correctly, I think you'll have it and love it for years. Because it's a nice solid base here, and then it's got the nice coil to cover up the hose that's coming through here to make it practical. You know, I like practical things, and you know, it's fairly simple, and yet it's really nice looking. And so you just turn it on there for cold and turn it up for hot, and then you have the lever here that just turns this into a shower if you want it, and then this just unclips like that. right? And then you can just like that. So, and then it goes right back in. Pretty simple, yet it really adds to our kitchen. We're very pleased with this faucet. So today I'm going to show you how to install a fan. All right, so I thought I'd show you this. This is disconnected, right? There's no power running to it or anything, but this is basically what this is what's behind the ceiling. This is, see these nails here? These are actually pounded into a stud for the most part. You know, obviously it's going to vary depending on what your setup is, but basically you're going to have a junction box like that in the ceiling where the light attaches, okay, that we're going to attach the fan to. And then sticking out of that, again, this is a basic, I'm showing you real basic. You got a black wire, and then you got a white wire, and then you got the ground. That's what that is, okay? And basically, when we open up that light, when we remove the light, we're gonna have 3 wires sticking down just like that, right? And so first thing we need to do is cut the power, right? We want the power off, and then we're gonna end up removing our light, and we're gonna have this sticking down that we're gonna we're gonna detach the existing light, and then we're gonna attach that fan to, okay? So I thought I'd show you that first, just so you understand, so you know what to expect and what's behind there before we take it apart. All right? Okay, so this is the light I'm gonna remove. Like I said, I really like this light. I actually replaced it about a year ago, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull it down, and we're gonna replace it with a fan. And then, like I said, I'll move this light to somewhere else because I really like it. I don't wanna donate it, I wanna hang on to it. So anyway, I'll show you what that looks like. We just gotta start taking it apart. You know, there's gonna be, like I said, it's different for every light. You know, it's gonna be a little bit different. I'll probably start here and unscrew that, but first I still haven't cut the power yet. So before I start doing that, start messing around, right, make sure to cut the power. But so we're just gonna start taking it apart so we can get back to this part, right, where that junction box is sticking out of the ceiling that we're gonna attach the fan to. So I'm out at my junction box, and I know that number 9, this is the one that I need to flip off. It's on right now. I just need to flip it off, and then that'll cut the power to that light. Right, so just flip it to the left. We'll go check and make sure that light's off now. So the light is off, and I'm just gonna double check with the switch. Hear it? Yeah, so there's nothing. There's no power running to that. So I'm safe to go ahead and start disassembling this. And I think this just looks like this. And again, this is gonna vary depending on what your lamp looks like. Okay, so I moved the camera a little bit so you can maybe see these. These are caps that are threaded that are going to go right over the top of these bolts that are sticking down. That's what's holding it up there. So I'm going to remove those. Let's see here. So I'm going to unscrew that. Yeah, so it just looks like that, and it's got threads in it, right? So that's what's holding that up. And then there's one on the other side too. Okay, and now that should just come down. There we go. Okay, so we got the wires coming out here. So there's a black wire, there's the ground, and here's the white wire. Like I showed you at the beginning, okay? You got a black wire, a white wire, and a ground. Pretty straightforward. So I always like to add a little bit of electrical tape. You don't have to, it doesn't ask you to. I just always, it's like one more thing to kind of hold those wires together, okay? So all I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna unscrew these caps, okay? And that's just what holds those guys together. Here we go. So basically that's all that is. That thing's just screwed right on there, and it screws the wires together, okay? So now that's that, okay? And then this one here, just unscrew it. Okay, and then that sets that free. So now we got these two free, and it's still being held up by this one wire here. It's being held by the ground. This thing isn't too heavy, but I'm gonna have to figure out how that's attached there. Let's see, how did I attach that? So we can undo this. Maybe this is all we need to do. think it's wrapped around. I did a pretty good job wrapping this guy together. So let's see. And again, this is gonna vary. So it's gonna, whoa, there we go. Good thing I had a hold of it. So that set it free. Okay, so now we have our black wire, our white wire, and then we have our ground hanging down right here. All right, so the first piece of advice I would give you if you're ever building anything that comes in a kit like this, where it's got all kinds of different pieces, is you lay everything out. Lay everything out first, and then most instruction manuals will have a parts list, and then you just walk through and see what each piece does, and it'll also help you when you're, as you're putting the fan up, to go, oh, okay, I recognize that piece because I already had some familiarity with it, right? And then they have, Hunter actually does it where they have little baggies with each, sets of screws or whatever you're going to need, so that it just makes it that much easier to identify it. And then, even before you get started, just kind of read through this. It's not that big of a pamphlet. So you just kind of walk through it and just kind of see what to expect. Oh, okay, that's that, and then that's that, right? So it'll just make your install go so much easier. And then, there could be a part that's missing and you're frustrated. You're like, where is that thing? It's just best to just check everything, make sure that everything's there before you get started. All right, so the first thing we need to do is install the bracket. And so this is what the bracket looks like on this particular one. And see these little rubber feet here? That actually goes up against the ceiling to kind of give it some stability, right? It's a little bit of flex to it, so it mounts up there and kind of keeps it from, that probably helps with a little bit of the wobble. So basically what we need to do is you're just going to feed these wires. These are all off, right? I'm going to feed these wires through here like that, and then I'm going to secure that like that. Okay, so you got your white wire, your black wire, and your ground right here. Okay, just like that. And I'm gonna secure that. So that's what I'm gonna do right now, basically with just a couple screws. So the way this fan is, and the instructions try to make it kind of easy for you. See how it's got that star on there? It tells you which bag you're looking for. And in this particular bag, it had these wood screws. Okay, that's what it came with. And then, so it tells you, you can either use these to get into a stud, which I always like to get into a stud, or you can actually, the screws that came with your junction box, that's what they call that junction box up there, right? You can screw these things into there. So what I'm probably gonna do, I'm gonna get one into the actual junction box and then one into a stud. Okay, because I know there's a stud right here, and this gives me all kinds of options. There's lots of slots on this, and so I can do it that way. So that's what I'm going to do. So this one is what's considered the machine screw, the one that's going into the actual outlet box. Okay. Okay. I actually, you can use the screws that came with it. I really like these screws, so this is the screw that I'm going to use. But the ones that came with it were these. Right, so I'm just going to use this one, and I'm going to get it into a stud out here on this side. Okay, that's nice and solid. That's not going anywhere, right? So you just want to make sure, because if your junction box is wobbly, that's not going to be a good thing, right? You want to make sure that that's nice and secure. Okay, the next thing it says to do is this at the bottom here. Rather than read it all, I'm going to just walk you through that. You want to take this, feed it through here, and you have these holes here, and they're going to line up with these holes, okay? I'm going to put that housing on right there. Okay, now those holes are still there. And then we put this on. This is next. That's what that ring is. And we just basically put that right there like that. And then this is the last piece, and you got the 3 holes again, right? So we're gonna feed that through just like that. Okay, that's that step, and I just want to keep that like that, and then I move on to the next one. And I'm gonna put some screws into there to hold that. Okay, so when you put this piece on, make sure you see how you got the 3 holes on the outside, and then you got this this one hole over here by itself. Make sure that lines up with this, right? Because if you put this on here, and if that hole's not there, you're going to be spinning this thing around. You're not going to be able to get that last little ground screw in there, okay? So let's go ahead and we tighten this up. Tighten up one of the long ones, but don't tighten it all the way. Just get it started. Part way down. Let's even, we have this little shorter screw that actually is the ground. Let's get that guy in there, and that'll help everything line up. We'll leave the ground one loose a little bit because I'm guessing we're going to attach a ground wire to that. So that's what that looks like inside there. I just attached those. Okay, I cut my own little ground wire here that I'm going to put on that ground. Okay, on that ground screw, and then we're just going to go ahead and screw that down. And okay, and then we'll be able to screw all the grounds together. Okay, so this particular fan actually has a remote. So you may or may not have that, but basically you just got to piece it together. So these two are going to go to the wiring in my house, okay? And then these are going to connect to the fan, okay? And so basically it tells me, and so I just read the instructions. Blue goes to blue. That sure makes it easy, right? Blue goes to blue. So basically you just take these two wires like this and you spin them together, and then you use the cap and then you spin that together, okay? Spin it all together, make sure you get a good connection there, okay? And then the next one is a little bit tricky because you've got a yellow one and there's no yellow, right? So what are we gonna do? We're actually it tells you to connect the yellow wire to the black wire, okay? So you actually need to take a look at that. We're going to connect the yellow to the black, okay? And then we spin those together. Okay. So now we're ready to go. And that's just going to go down inside there like that, okay? And then we'll be able to connect, let's put these kind of together so that they're all there, okay? And then we'll connect the black, the white, and the ground once we hang this from the ceiling. Okay, so now we're just going to take those two holes there, and they're going to hook onto this side over here. Okay, now that we got our receiver hooked up on the inside, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so you're getting close now, right? So now we need to make sure we have our spinnies, right? Actually, I just need one more. If you remember, we had the white, okay? So the white wire, we actually had an extra white wire, right? So here's our white wire, and there's one white wire coming out of the top, right? So we're gonna spin all those together, okay? So we just take this cap off. Remember, the power's off, so we don't need to worry about anything there. Okay, and then we just spin all of these together. We're gonna put them all together like that. So these, my old light that was up here, this is where these ones come from. So in the packet, these are orange, but I'm just reusing the ones I had. Okay, spin that together nice and good. Okay, that's that. And then now we have the black wire, right? And then we're gonna have the ground too. So let's go ahead and see what we got for the ground. We got the ground coming from my outlet, and then I got a ground coming from here, coming from my bracket. So I'm going to spin all those together too. The ground I connected in here, the ground here, and then the ground that's coming from my outlet. We're going to spin all those together. So the last thing we're going to do is just spin the black wire with the black wire, all right? Spin them together. Just like that. And if you want, you know, you could add, if you're worried about this coming apart too, you could add a piece of electrical tape. I'll do that occasionally just to make sure if I'm worried about the wires coming undone. So you could just make sure you use a good one, because if you use a bad one, you know, they unravel on you. So, okay, so we're golden. We can just put all that right back in there. So now this is just gonna come up here, And everything's tucked in. I'm just gonna go ahead and put in one screw for now. Because I just want to double check everything, make sure we got it. Let's see here. And just get that thing started. Other two, right? We've already got one attached. Now we're just attaching the one on this side. Okay, we're almost there. Look at that. So, and then you get to choose the color that you want the fan to be. They usually give you two colors, depending on what color you want facing down for the fan blades. Okay, so now all we do here is this is a canopy ring, right, that we put on there before, and all that does is we just push it straight on up and it locks into place. So now, like I said, you have a fan blade this way or this one. These are this like a gray and then like a light oak. And all we're going to do here is we're just going to slide that right in there, and then we just put 3 screws up inside, and we got to do that 4 different times. Okay, so we're attaching the fan blades, and all you do is just, you know, you want to attach and just, I say finger tight, but maybe not quite finger tight, maybe a little bit tighter than that, you know, just to make sure that it's not going to fall. So we can just use that. I like to get all the blades up first, and then I'll come back and I'll tighten all these things. Okay? All right, so when you're doing these, each one, it comes with a washer and a little mini screw, really a bolt, I guess you'd call it. But yep, and then just make sure your blades are all facing the same way, right? That you've got your gray facing down if that's the color you've chosen, right? So you're not surprised when you get down and go, oops. I've got 3 gray fan blades and 1 light oak, right? So just pay attention to what you're doing. Want to make sure those are snug though now. Okay. Now we're going to attach the light. What it tells me to do is see these holes right here, these 3 holes. I'm going to put a screw into 2 of them. It says it doesn't matter which 2, because you'll see in just a second the piece that's going to attach to this, you don't screw them in all the way. Okay, I'm just going to screw it in part way, and then the other one's just going to fit right on top of it. You'll see, or the piece that we're putting up here is going to attach. Okay, not all the way. I'm going to take this piece here, okay, and it's going to feed, I got to feed the wires through here, just like that. And then the screws that I have, I just put the head over one, and where's the other one? Just gotta find it. There we go. And then I just twist it to the right. Okay. Oh, I don't think it's quite on. There we go. Twist it to the right. Okay. And now I can just go ahead and attach that the rest of the way. I want to make sure it's secured. Okay. Okay, so that's nice and tight. So now, in order to attach the light, it says we gotta put 2 screws in here. Same thing again, don't tighten them all the way, okay? And it says it doesn't matter which 2, and you'll see why. Because we'll have this unit with these holes here, right? It says AA, so kind of makes it dummy proof for you. Okay, so now that's all attached. Now we're just going to put this guy up here, and we put it on that screw, and we twist it a little bit. So okay, nice and tight. Same thing again. Make sure all these are tight. Like I said, it's good to leave it loose for a time, but then you want to make sure everything's tight at the end. Okay, now we just got to put in our bulbs. It's just going to go on here. It should be pretty straightforward how it goes on. I think you can see the notches here, so just line up your notches like that, and then twist it. There you go. Pretty simple, right? So there you go. We got the Hunter logo there for you. All right, so we're just turning our power back on. Okay, this fan is too cool. So it actually comes with a remote. And it's pretty easy. I can just turn on the light like that, okay? And then it actually has the different speeds. So I can have, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, or if I want the fan off and just the light, I hit 0. Okay, so like I said, I'm pretty tall, so I had to pick something with a lower profile. So make sure you do that. Make sure you check that out before you buy your fan, because you don't want it to be too low. So I'll show you this in just a second, but inside here there's actually a switch to change the direction of the fan, because you want it going a certain way during winter and a certain way during summer. You want during the winter, you want the warm air to be pushing down, but during the summer, you want going up, right? So that it keeps it cooler down here. So, okay, remember how we removed this now? We just need to slide it, pull it off there, and then there's that switch, okay? And you just gotta flip it for winter or flip it for summer. So this is for summer. So this is counterclockwise for the summer. Okay, and then we flip that switch to the right for winter. Okay, and then it takes the warm air and pushes it down for us. Okay, so this is my elongated one. See how it's a little bit long like that, kind of pointy. Each one of these is just a little bit different, how they remove and how they go back on. Each manufacturer just makes them a little bit different. Some are easy clean. You can you remove it and you can even just slide it off and then slide it back on. But I'll show you how this one works. I'll get a close-up of it for you. All right, so here's the two where the two screws are. This particular one, just let's see, yeah, it snaps open like that. Snaps open like this, an Allen wrench, right? And you can do this, but you know me, I like to make easy work of it, so I'm just going to use my drill. And then that just comes off of there. That's all there is to it. And I'll show you from the bottom what it looks like down there too, so you get to see both sides. So I just need to stick this up inside here from the bottom. Okay. All right, so that's in place now. Okay, so this is considered a round toilet seat. I'm going to show you how to remove this one, or at least this style. So again, when you're picking out your toilet seat, you just want to make sure you're picking out the right one before you go to uninstall it and then put the new one in. You want to make sure you have the right size. Okay, so the way these ones work, if you have these wings like this, snap them to the left, just like that. So how it works, why that clamps on. If you look right down inside here, you can see when you move this, right? So that's tight, this is open. And right now when it's open, these little things here can flex. So they give a little bit of room to flip over that thing. And then when you clamp that, it stops those things from being able to flex. And then all you gotta do is just wiggle a little bit and they just pop off. So that's the style. You know, this is pretty straightforward. You just use a regular screwdriver, and then underneath, actually, let me go ahead and just show you what that looks like. So if you wanted to swap these out, you know, you just do this. I'm just gonna pull one off because I'm not actually gonna swap this out. Okay, so it just looks like that, right? So you just hold this piece, and you put this down in here, okay, just like that. So right now they're closed. We want them open, right? We open them up, and then we just put them on the top of there, and we kind of feel around, okay? And we can get one locked in. Let me feel the other one here. Oh, that didn't lock in. Okay, now it's locked in. Now I can snap it, and the other one, snap it. There you go. Okay, so I have this hole here because, so this, when we did our kitchen remodel, this used to be our kitchen, and our kitchen's at the other side of the house now. So this actually used to be a vent for our dishwasher, and there used to be a pipe coming out of here and running straight down. So obviously this is what's left. And when we were redoing the inside, I put this is a 2x4 right inside there, nice and solid, but I obviously need to fix this. And so what I'm gonna have to do, unfortunately affecting this piece of siding and this piece of siding. So this one's going to be fairly easy because I'm just going to cut it right here and cut it right here and pop this out. And then, you know, it's probably got some paint that's kind of sealed, so you just take a knife and run it alongside there so that it doesn't pop this out too and kind of make a mess. We want it to be nice and clean. And then we'll have to kind of prise things out, and we'll pop that one out. And then with this one, because it's kind of here and it's part of with the window here, I don't want my groove to be right here. I probably want it like right here, somewhere over here where it's staggered. Okay, so I'll probably cut it like here and just replace this piece, and then but I'm going to replace this whole piece, and then we don't have to mess with this at all. All right, so looks like I got a nail here. I'm just going to pull that out. I might even be able to use this piece right here. I'll cut it off here, take that, and then end up putting it here. May as well, because I think that's enough of a piece to fit there. You get what I'm doing though. I'm basically just going to run a nice straight line there. You probably can't exactly see that, but you know what I'm doing, right? I'm trying to get that free from the paint, or if there was caulk too that was holding it together. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do here. And then we'll end up caulking the new stuff later, so it'll be fine, and paint it later. Okay. Basically, we're trying to mess with this and this, so I just want to make sure it's free good. Okay. And then we'll go here. We're just going to want to try to pry that out of there. Okay. I can see where the nail is here too, so if I can get up underneath there, let's see here. Okay. Okay. You see that nail right there? That just popped loose. So now I can yank that out. To help set it free. Let's see. That's much easier now. And there was that nail right here that I already removed. Okay. There we go. Kind of set it free. Okay, and so actually I can go ahead and cut this now. I'm gonna cut it. You know what? Remember how I was gonna use that other piece? I got plenty of siding from when we did my remodel on the house, so it's no big deal. I'm not going to be able to do that now because that split right there, right? So that it can free up, because we're going to need to shove that other piece up underneath there, right? So let's go ahead and just cut the side. And cut the side. I don't need to. I'm going to try not to go ahead and mess with that. Let's do that. Okay, we're just trying to get that away from there. Enough to where we'll be able to slide the next one up underneath there, okay? I might be able to pop that out now. Okay. There's a nail right there. I want to remove that so that this thing can slide up underneath there. And I can see a nail right here too. Okay. So here's my level, and so now this makes it good, so I'm not wonky like this. I can actually make sure that I'm level by checking the bubble here. And I'm going to get as close as I can over to this thing, over to this where the hole is. Okay, and let's make it level. Okay, that looks good right there. Okay. So that's where I'm going to make my line right here, because I want to remove this. I don't want to remove that. I want to leave that alone. Okay. And I'm going to show you the tool I'm going to use. This is called an oscillating multi-tool. I will do a Tool Tuesday on this because it's such a great tool. And so what this does, you know, there's different ways you could do this. You could score this with a knife and go over and over again. Be really careful with it, especially since you're only doing one. Or you could use a or just a regular saw and kind of work on it and be really careful. But this will make quick work of it, because what happens is this blade right here just goes back and forth really fast, okay? So I'm just gonna be able to go like this, put it here, and work it down, okay? But what I wanna do is, you gotta be careful, because I don't wanna go into the siding behind me. It's not gonna be a huge deal, but right down here, we definitely don't wanna do that, right? Because then you'll see that, and really, like I said, overkill. It's probably not that big a deal, because we can just run a bead of caulk there. But what we can do is we can kind of pull this away a little bit and then stick something underneath there, a piece of metal or something, to stop the blade from going all the way through. So I just got this piece of real thin sheet metal, okay? I have scraps all over the place, stuff like this. I'm sure you can understand that. If you ever have been in somebody's shop, they have stuff that's just hanging around. So I'm just gonna do that just to protect it. And then again, this line doesn't need to be perfect, but what you could do, I mean, there's a couple things you could do. You could put something up here as your guide and then just have that thing just go right down, or you can just freehand it. Let's see how that goes. I'm just gonna try to freehand it. And they make these oscillating tools cordless, but I happen to have a outlet right here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this here. There you go. And then you can see what you got underneath here, right? And so as we rebuild this now, you want to always do siding from bottom to top, right? So normally, if this wasn't here and you were just doing your own siding, obviously you'd start from the bottom and just layer it and layer it and layer it. But now we're going to have to kind of work with this. We're going to put a piece of siding in here. If you can see my home, this was built in the 70s, and it's kind of a strange thing that they've done here. This is like insulation of some sort. I put the backing in here of this wood and then put a lot of insulation on the inside when we were doing our remodel. But this is a little bit hokey, but this is covered too, and we live in a relatively mild climate. The real way to do this was probably to pull all this out and actually replace it with plywood, but we're not going to do that, right? So anyway, so we probably do want to put something in here. Just I mean, I don't know that it would hurt if I end up just putting siding. Nobody's ever going to know that's there, but I will. So I got to see what I have that I can maybe just fill that gap with. So here's what I'm going to do. I found a piece of wood that I was able to cut down to this size. It's a little bit bigger than what I need there, which is perfect. So then I'm just going to go ahead and draw a line around it. So there we go. Put a couple of nails in there. Shoot this in. We're going to put that one in there. Okay. That looks pretty good. And these little gaps here, we're just going to fill those in with caulk, so that's no big deal. Okay, and the last piece right here. Remember, we pried this one up, so that we could slide this in the back. Okay. You know what? There's that one nail here that I'm fighting. So, because we want the same reveal here, right? And this is not quite the same. This is a little smaller. This is a little bigger. So we're gonna have to remove that nail. So I've been fighting with this for a little bit. So I just want to be transparent with you. There was a nail here that I was fighting with, trying to get it up there, and then there's actually a nail here. And these side cutters work great for this, for removing these. So I had to kind of get inside there and keep working at it. And finally I'm pulling this thing out, okay? because I was fighting that, and that's why that thing wouldn't slide up in there. So we should be good now. Okay, so now we're just sliding it up inside. I was actually, I put a notch in here trying to work around it. See that? I just cut a little notch because you're not going to see it. I was going to try to do that, but I still was fighting it. So I just went ahead and got that nail out. So now we're good to go. You can just see what your reveal is here. This is 4.5. And if you need to tap this, if for some reason you need to tap it, you want to get a separate block and put it here and then just tap on it. You don't want to tap on your siding, right? Because then you'll leave marks in your siding. But if you put a block of wood here and you just tap on it, that'll keep you from making those marks, right? So, all right, so I think we're about good. All right, so now all you'll do is just go back through here and caulk these, fill in those with caulk, and then we actually have some spare paint. We had our house painted a couple of years ago. We had to get some extra paint, so I'm just going to paint over this, even though this actually is this was painted and it was removed from our backyard. Just want to make sure that it looks nice and clean. When changing out a door, the easiest way to do it is to get a pre-hung door, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so the first thing we want to do is remove the trim, and so you want to use a knife so that it's not sticking to the paint, okay? So we're just going to take that and run it right down there. Okay, so now we're just going to use a pry bar of some sort and try to get it underneath there. Be careful now, right? You don't want to damage your trim if you can, okay? Kind of work it a little bit. Okay, that popped free. You gotta be careful on these seams too, because a lot of times guys will shoot a nail through there, and we are trying to save this if we can, right? So worst case scenario, we have to get new trim. That's not the end of the world, but there's this frame right here, see? And that's just framing the door. We're gonna pull this whole thing out and just stick in the new frame, just like that. So if you want to remove a door without taking the hinges off, you can just pull the pins like that. See, so that's there. And I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. You can pull the pin. Now that door will just come off of there. Okay, this door will just come, we can just remove it. So like I told you, I put some plastic here, right, to protect it. So now you can just see that we're going to, this is just a frame here, and it's pounded in, probably pounded in here. Okay. Okay. I measured the door beforehand, and the door itself is 28 inches, okay? With the frame, it's 29.5 inches, and the way this is 30 inches. And so they give you some wiggle room, right? Because you don't want to have it be so tight you can't get it in here. There's going to be nails, right? So you want to make sure all your nails are gone. When you're picking out your door, you got to pick out the correct size, and then you also got to pick out the side that you want the knob to come out, right? These pre-hung doors come set for you. I knew I want this thing. See, my hinges are just like they were on the old ones. They're on this side, which means the door is going to swing out. Would have been a, you know, you get yourself into a bind, you have it swinging in. I can't have that door swinging in, right? It's got to swing out. And so just be careful with that. Make sure you know where your knob is, and we'll actually need to be installing a new knob here. I'm not going to put that old gold knob. My last door had 2 hinges. This one has 3. This door is off of here now. Okay, so now I just got my frame, and he said, just go ahead and put it in there. There you go. Beautiful thing. So what we're going to do here is I need to make sure this is level, and I'm going to make sure this side is level, because this is the side where the hinges are, and it looks pretty good. Not going to be perfect, right? But so we can actually go ahead and put that one in. For now, I'm going to put 2 nails, because I don't want to make this permanent just yet, okay? And I'm going to go ahead, and I want to keep it flush here, right? Because this is where my trim's going to go, okay? So it's important that it's flush on this front, or close to it, right? Again, doesn't have to be perfect. And then a nail in down here. Okay, for now, that's all we're gonna do. I'm gonna take a measurement and make sure my door will still fit. Let's just see what this looks like. Obviously on the top, you know, that's since it's got a bracket here, or it's got a top piece connecting this is gonna be fine, right? So what I'm gonna do is I have these shims, okay? And you can just buy these. They come in a little pack like this. So now I can just put that in there. Okay, it's a little thick. So all you need to do is just use 2 of those. See, that's what a shim is, just like that. And then you can just put a couple in if you need to. We're gonna go ahead and put that in here. Right, so when you use a shim, you can just see that. So you start out kind of thin, and then you can just slide them together and see how that it's getting thicker and thicker, all the way up to there. All right, so when you're tapping these in, you could, if you wanted to, just use a hammer. It's not a bad idea to use something to protect it so that you're not marking up the metal, right? Okay, it's a beautiful thing. Okay, I can put a few more nails in now because I know it's good. Okay, so we just got to put the trim back. I'm just going to start on one end and work my way around. You want to have a little bit of a reveal here, meaning this is held back a little bit from this edge right here. You don't want to have it right next to it. So I went ahead and installed the doorknob. I have a separate video for that if you need to know how to do it. It's fairly simple, but I walk you through all the steps, and I just didn't want to take the time in this video to show you how to do that. How to replace a bathroom faucet. This is actually the new faucet, so this is the finished version. I'm going to walk you through how to pull out the old one and put in a new one if you've never done that before. Okay, so I went ahead and removed my doors here just to give you a completely clear shot of what I'm doing here. I would recommend you get a bucket like this. This is a rectangle or a square. The nice thing about it is you can put it all the way up against the back, and that's why I'm using this particular one. I can catch any water that might fall. So the first thing you want to start with is turning off your water. These are your hot and cold water here, right? So we just want to turn those off. So that's off. And that's off, okay? So that's the first thing we wanted to do. Disconnect this, and look, things are mostly just hand tightened here, so you won't really need too much you won't need the wrench too much. So we're just gonna get that off. Some water is gonna come out of here, okay? We'll just drop this down to get this out of the way. See here, we can go ahead and remove that because we actually have a new spout here. We're gonna have a new one of these. All right, do you see that right there? That's connecting the plug, okay? Because when this flips up like that, it closes the sink, right? It closes the stopper up above, okay? So let's disconnect that. We'll just pull it off of here like this. Okay, so that's that. And then we'll just disconnect that. See, that's really going in there because it's connecting with that stopper. Okay, looks like it's got a little bit of rust. So, okay, so now that's not stopping that. So let's go ahead and remove this guy now. Okay, so we're just disconnecting that. You can see there's some plumber's putty left over from when this was done last time. That's the stopper from up above. See that? That's the stopper. So we'll pull that out. Those are your two water lines where they're connected. I just need to unscrew that, okay? And my arm might get in the way, but I want to make sure you know what I'm doing here, okay? So I'm just gonna get on there. Loosen that up because I just need to loosen it a little bit so I can get it off there. There's going to be some water that's going to come out. Okay, so let's get them both.
Okay, we're gonna do the same thing here. Now, we just need to disconnect the old faucet. And it has just a hand crank here you can pull. Do you see that? Pardon my arm, but can't really do it any other way. I'm gonna loosen one. All right, so it just looks like that. All right, so that's that. Need to do the other one. Okay, so we still have this guy on, right? So we're just gonna take that and remove it, okay? And all that was this just pinched, right? And then we slid it out, okay? That's how that worked. Okay, see that nut right there? We're gonna have to loosen that. So we just need to try to get to it. I'm sure it won't take much to loosen it. There you go. Okay, so that's free. Now it'll come out the top. And then now you can see this is a metal slide right through now. See, it doesn't have that other piece connected to it, okay? And then this, you gotta put this gasket on first. That's the first thing you do, and it actually dummy proofs it for you. On this particular one, it says top and front. So there we go, top and front. It's just gonna sit like that. All right, so now we got our faucet, and we're just gonna go ahead and put it right down inside there. We need to connect it from the other side. Okay, so now we just need to attach these just like we did, just how we removed it. Now we're putting it right back on with this new faucet. All right, so I'm just gonna try to reach around so you can see better. So all I'm doing is just putting that on there. Okay, there we go, we're close. We don't wanna overly tighten it until we get both of them on, and then we kind of go back and forth to make sure that it's seated properly. And so this is the mechanism that goes in here that allows your stopper to move up and down, right? So what's gonna happen here is you're gonna have the thing from up above that you pull up and push down. That's gonna be connected to this, which will allow this to open up and close for you. This top part is gonna be up above in our sink, and we need that, okay? Because that's gonna sit in our sink, right? So now we're gonna take our plumber's putty, okay? And you just roll it between your fingers and get it out to a decent amount, right? We don't wanna go too little, but we don't need to go too much. You don't wanna have it be too much, but when this squeezes down in there, you want it good enough to where it squeezes in and it actually comes out the top, and then you just clean it from the top, okay? So we're gonna get ourselves something like that, and then we're just gonna wrap this around here, okay? We're gonna wrap it around here, okay? Something like that, right? Again, that might be a little too much. That's okay, because we're gonna, we'll scrape it off from the top. You just want it to fill in any of those gaps there, so something like that. Put this down here, right? It's just gonna go there, and like I said, it'll squeeze out the top, especially once you tighten it, okay? All right, so now we're down underneath, and you wanna make sure that you got some space here, right? So when this thing came from the manufacturer, it was up here, this washer, and it wouldn't have been able to reach. So we had to pull that back, okay? And then now up top, I'm just gonna put it through here, and up top I can see it, okay? So I'm just kind of holding it while I'm twisting, okay? I need this particular thing in the back, because that's gonna connect with this, right? So that we can open and close that stopper, okay? So now we can tighten this up. All right, so I just wanted you to see this. See that plumber's putty, how it oozed out of there? You just take that and scrape it off. Okay, so now we're gonna attach this to our plunger from up above. And I'm gonna go ahead and give myself plenty of room. I can see this and this. These need to be able to line up. I'm gonna have to pick a hole. Okay, so let's get it up there pretty good. And then now I gotta tighten it. You gotta be able to see that nut right there. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it. We're gonna attach this down below, and it's gonna go into here to allow that to lift up. That's what that looks like, okay? So when we put this in, we wanna make sure it's facing backwards, okay? You don't want to put it in, you don't want to put it in like that. You want to make sure that that thing is towards the back, the hole, right? Not this way, but this way, okay? So we're facing that way. Okay, so now we're gonna take this piece here, okay? And we're gonna put it into here for now. We don't have to connect it to that other thing yet, but you want the ball facing in, okay? Okay, that looks good. I've decided that I'm gonna put it in this hole, the second one from the bottom, okay? Because when I'm up above, I can see that when I pull up, it closes. When I push down, it opens, okay? So that's where I wanna put it, right here. Okay, so now you gotta slide this clamp on. This gets a little bit tricky, but you can do it. So first thing you wanna do is you wanna remove that, and then you slide one of these on this side, okay? And then we're gonna put it through that hole. Okay, so this is how this is supposed to attach. So you have to put this piece on first, and then you have to slide that on, and then you have to put that on, and then you just slide it over. See, now we can adjust it by pinching that, okay? But now it's on there good. All right, so mine came out good here where I've ended up putting it, but remember that you have this nut up here, right? That you can adjust this. If this doesn't come out right for you, or this is good for me, you can adjust that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and connect my water lines, okay? Because you wanna make sure that they're on there good. Okay, tighten them the rest of the way. Okay. All right, so we got our new spout here. We're just gonna kind of reverse what we did before. You need to put this piece up here first, and then this is a washer, okay? That'll go up on there, like that, okay? And then now we got our threads, so we need to put our threads up here, and then we can tighten that guy down, okay, like that. And then that's there to connect to here, so we'll go ahead and put that here and tighten that down. Close, right? We don't want to tighten it all the way until we make sure that we got things lined up. All right, so everything's lined up. I can cinch it up even more now. So I'm gonna put my bucket underneath, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn the water on here. Always a little scary. All right, so this is one of the things I liked about this particular faucet, is being able to move that back and forth. And then here we go. Things are working properly. Okay. And then let's take a look at our plug. There's our plug. We're good. So that is working properly. I hope this was helpful for you. Thanks for watching.